Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Hundreds of people are dealing with extensive and severe flooding. Roads are washed out, bridges underwater, and many people have no power. The heavy rainfall has forced a Western Manitoba municipality to declare a state of emergency. CBC's Rosanna Hempel has the latest.
Flooded basements, flooded streets. Heavy overnight rain damaged homes and knocked out power north of Duck Mountain Provincial Park. Some people are stranded. Reeve Bill Gade of the municipality of Swan Valley West says crews have been getting people out by boat since early Monday morning.
It's horrible right now. I've been out for the last few hours doing evacuations with our crews here, trying to get people out of their houses. Unfortunately, not everybody went when they needed to go. We have some people right now sitting on roofs of houses. It's the only way they can keep dry.
About 150 residents forced out of their homes. Hundreds of others are being told to shelter in place. Among the hardest hit, Minitonas, about 375 kilometers northwest of Winnipeg. The community got 15 centimeters of rain in 5 hours. Many highways in the area closed.
The overnight rains kind of really inundated the ditches and all that, so a lot of bridges and streams and creeks and rivers are kind of just spilling their banks and just causing a lot of washouts or water over the road.
This shows Minitonas underwater. The municipality of Minitonas-Bozeman has declared a local state of emergency. A boil water advisory is in effect. A gas line also ruptured in Minitonas, forcing a partial evacuation of one neighborhood. Lance Jacobson is the mayor of nearby Swan River.
My heart goes out to the people in Minitonas too, because it's an urban area and they've been flooded and they've had sewage backup and water in their basements, and it's devastating.
People with the fire department in Minitonas are going door to door to help people handle submerged appliances. Manitoba Hydro says it's working to get power back to the region. Neighboring community leaders hope people get out safely before more rain is expected in the next few days. Rosanna Hempel, CBC News, Winnipeg.
As you heard, getting to people who need help is a problem. With road closures and high water, many areas are blocked off. Crews have been putting up barricades. Our team is out trying to get as close as possible, but as expected, access is difficult. We check in now with CBC's Michelle McDougall.
I'm here on Highway 10, almost at Minitonas, the hardest hit community. As you can see, the wind is very strong, at times creating white caps on land that was dry just days ago. I spoke with a farmer who said he just started seeding and now his fields are underwater.
We're seeing lots of water and lots of erosion on the properties, on the fields, and yeah, it's really bad out here at the moment.
On the highway, water is still running. Where I'm standing, only one lane is open, but the shoulder has been washed away. In some areas, there's no line between the ditches and the road, but there are areas where the water is receding, but that's leaving behind clumps of dried mud, branches, and grass. At this point, the roads into Minitonas are either washed out or underwater, making access to the town difficult, if not impossible. Michelle McDougall, CBC News, near Swan Valley.
And of course, you can head to our website for all the latest on that. And moments ago, we heard from the province. Manitoba's Emergency Management Organization is sending staff to help flood-affected communities. Well, the safety record of a trucking company involved in a fatal crash is now being called into question. Last month, a semi-driver allegedly blew a stop sign in Brandon, smashing into a woman's SUV and killing her. A CBC investigation into the company's past shows it has a spotty history in Alberta and already had its permit pulled in this province. The CBC's Bryce Hoy reports.
A company implicated in a deadly semi-truck crash in Brandon last month had a spotty record in Manitoba before it had its safety certification pulled 4 years ago. And records suggest that it still does where it's currently registered in Alberta. A 49-year-old woman died in this collision last month involving a semi-truck. Manitoba's transportation minister says the trucking company involved is named Conquer, and had its safety certification revoked in Manitoba in 2021. According to government documents, between 2018 and 2021, Conker racked up 30 convictions across 5 provinces before having its safety certification pulled. Paramjeet Dhaliwal says he was director of the company in Manitoba.
Too much inspection. They said, no, you would lose the safety rating. So I am fed up and close everything.
Dhaliwal says he handed off the business to family members and is no longer involved. Soon after he did, the province says the company popped up in Alberta as Conker Transportation, as opposed to Conker Transport, as it was called in Manitoba. Alberta records show Conker had one of the highest risk ratings in the province as of April. Out of 18,000 trucking companies, it's in the bottom 225 carriers.
There's only, 225 worse than them. Once the investigation from Manitoba comes in, I'm sure it will hit the worst.
Experts say this case highlights a long-standing issue in the trucking sector, so-called chameleon companies that have their certification pulled in one province only to pop up in another.
These practices of chameleon companies has become obviously a great problematic on all the safety issues and putting at stake lives of the road users. The issue as it happened in Brandon is one that we commonly know throughout Canada.
Commonly known, but hard to track because of a patchwork of systems in the provinces and thousands of companies across Canada.
Being able to find out and police the bad apples, it gets really hard.
That's why Manitoba Transportation Minister Lisa Naylor wants Ottawa to create a national database. The federal government, meanwhile, says the provinces have to work together to ensure they're enforcing rules in their jurisdictions. Bryce Hoy, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Open drug use continues to be a problem, especially in the city's downtown core. But Winnipeg police say they are limited in what they can do. Open drug use around places like Gordon Bell High School and downtown is a major issue. In recent weeks, people from the head of the Winnipeg School Division to the Premier of Manitoba, Wab Kinew, have expressed concerns. They want to see police crack down. But police say if someone is openly committing a crime, they can enforce the law, but they say this is more complicated. Officers say it's difficult to ask people to move along when there's nowhere for them to go.
You're also asking the police to police a social issue, which is extremely tricky. So certainly we're there for public safety and law enforcement, and the open drug use is definitely a problem, but it's a difficult situation because it's happening throughout our city.
Meantime, emergency departments all over Canada are trying to figure out how to handle the opioid crisis. It's being talked about at a national conference here in Winnipeg. One Vancouver emergency doctor says the drug situation is bad across the country.
People are maybe overdosing more often and then having a more profound overdose that maybe doesn't respond to the naloxone, the Narcan that they're getting. So it's sort of, I know ambulance services are stressed. I've heard about this in Winnipeg. This is definitely the case in Vancouver. Toronto is seeing this as well. So it's a national problem.
Health Canada says every day across the country, about 20 people die in opioid-related overdoses. All right, well, if you like the heat, this was definitely the weekend for you. But of course, with those temperatures comes severe weather, storms, floods, washouts. It's been a busy 24 hours for many after yesterday's deluge in the west. So let's bring in Colette Kennedy now for a latest look at the forecast. Colette.
Thanks, Brittany. Yes, so much volatility with our weather over the weekend. The hail, the heavy rains, and, mostly yesterday and last night. We're taking a bit of a breather today, but more active weather to come tomorrow. And so I'll have more details on that coming up, but I do want to show you these impressive rainfall totals, and you understand why we have some of the problems we have when you're talking about nearly 150 millimeters of rain. Sarah Lake over 130, almost 135 millimeters. Santa Clara almost 120. Swan Valley over 70, and even Long Point there over 65 millimeters of rain just from the storm event from the weekend. Temperatures came down a bit today. The air more comfortable as well. quite a bit drier with the dew points having dropped. Well, everything changes again tomorrow. There goes the cold front, some of that influx of drier air, but we have another system coming tomorrow and more moisture content to the air. 16 tonight with clear skies, winds relatively light by tomorrow morning, 14, comfortable to start. But by afternoon, we get back into the 30s, or at least 30 degrees for Winnipeg. Increasing clouds later in the day, a thunderstorm risk here. But earlier in the day, we have that chance a bit further west and southwest once again. And so I do want to get into some details on that, but also take note too, later in the day tomorrow, our winds will be quite a bit stronger. So many components coming together.
All right, thanks, Colette. The province wants to ban artificial intelligence for some teens. What students who already use AI think of the move? We'll speak to them next. From generating ideas to breaking down concepts, students at one Winnipeg school are using artificial intelligence. It comes as Manitoba's premier says the government wants to ban social media and AI chatbots for those under 16. CBC visited General Wolfe School in Winnipeg to talk about the ban. It's the same school we visited just months ago to see how they were introducing AI in the classroom. Alana Cole has this story.
Oh, I love Niana.
Scrolling, watching videos, connecting with friends. These middle school students are online, and they have an opinion about a ban on social media.
No matter what, we're still gonna find out like the negative side of social media sooner or later. And yeah, like I just think that they shouldn't ban it.
I think instead of a ban, I feel like more of an age-appropriate restriction would be better.
Manitoba wants to ban social media for those under 16. The government also wants to ban artificial intelligence chatbots for that age group. We took the subject to General Wolfe School. We were here not that long ago to see how AI was being introduced in the classroom. We're back to talk about chatbots and the ban. Dennis Karachihov's okay with using chatbots for ideas or even helping him learn English. He thinks it comes down to how they're used.
Some chatbots can be like talking to you think you're talking to a real person, but you're talking to a chatbot. And this situation is pretty bad because maybe in the future you will have some problems to talk to real people.
For Kyra Francisco, AI chatbots can be a helpful tool to answer questions about schoolwork, one that fills in when parents can't.
For immigrant families like some of us, our parents didn't have the privilege of such like good education to and some of our parents didn't even finish university. So a lot of things that were heard growing up was do your best and finish school so that you can provide for your family. And I think that AI chatbots really helped with coming up with ideas for helping with education.
Seeing how students are thinking about the technology shows teacher Donovan Ponce how they're becoming independent learners.
From an equity standpoint, again, they acknowledge that sometimes their families may not be able to help them with their homework, with their assignments, and knowing that there is a tool for them to use, I think that was kind of a big moment too.
Ponce's approach is human-led. He teaches students how they can incorporate chatbots used by the division responsibly. He's seen them help generate project ideas and simplify text.
I think we do need to distinguish between educational tools, which can be very powerful at bridging some gaps, and AI for relationships, which I don't think should exist.
He says educating students about what a chatbot is and how they work is key.
I think that's going to be one of the biggest things that we have to educate students on, just because AI is found in so many different apps now and different devices.
It's been interesting.
Principal Susan Durazi has concerns about the impacts of screen time on mental health and well-being. She says it's critical to educate students about what they are using online. For chatbots, she says they can be used to support learning, not replace thinking.
We are learning alongside students. In fact, I would say the students are ahead of us at some points, and so we need to start doing some catching up and learning what we can do to support this new journey.
When it comes to students, Durazi says they're already talking about ways to get around a ban. Ponce would like to see guidelines from the province around AI education.
Manitoba's premier says they want to ban social media and AI chatbots because they're addictive and cause mental health harms. But Wab Canoe says the province is investing in the provincial agency supporting technology in schools. He says he's open to the development of AI tools for class if they're safe, and that includes chatbots.
If there is a tool that is legitimately educational, that's opening new vistas for learning for young people, and we're running it locally on computers that we control, using technology that we know the data is not being sent out of Manitoba, then Yeah, I think that's an exciting place for us to look.
As for this group,
Do you think young people should have a voice in this?
Yeah.
they want to be part of the conversation. Alana Cole, CBC News, Winnipeg.
All right, well, it was that kind of weekend weather that really wallops you the minute you step outside through the heat, the humidity, and of course, in some parts of the province, all of that rain. Colette Kennedy takes us through your forecast. Colette.
Thanks, Brittany. I was talking about how today a bit of a breather after the active weather yesterday and the potential for what's to come tomorrow. And I wanted to illustrate that for you when we take a look at the change in the dew points. So just how hot and sticky it was over the weekend, and those dew points soaring up to almost, for Winnipeg, almost to 20. And that's significant. When you have the dew points in the single digits, it's way more comfortable. So look at the change today from June 7th to June 8th. Yeah, the dew points changing, dropping by as much as 15, and that influx of drier, more comfortable air. And this is going to flip around again as we move towards tomorrow. But when you are talking about those higher numbers, yeah, muggy, oppressive, we know, we felt it right on the weekend. Way more comfortable when you have a single digit dew point. So today we get to take that breather. There's the cold front, the area of low pressure, that counterclockwise spin. So that system continues to move east and take some of the active weather with it, other than closer to the center of the low. However, we get another system, this one more stateside, but bringing its energy, and with the jet stream pushing more of that moisture, that stickiness, that buoyancy to the air back into the province. It means here we go again tomorrow afternoon, Melita, Brandon, and you're going to watch this expand all the way up towards Dauphin as we're going. This is 6 p.m. into the early evening hours, and then it expands so much further as we're into the late evening and even towards the overnight hours, and of course pressing towards Winnipeg through the Red River Valley. So some of those will be nocturnal tomorrow night. The risk of hail, there's the potential for tornadic activity, so many reasons. Riley will be back with you, but so many reasons you want to be paying attention to what's going on with the weather tomorrow and have two different ways of getting information or alerts. Even into Wednesday, some of that volatility will still be with us. So an active pattern indeed. Some of the rainfall amounts, yeah, as we go between Tuesday and Wednesday, because so much of it is overnight, you see that heightened risk. And some of the strongest storms may well be back in some of these areas again, from Melita, Brandon, up towards Dauphin, stretching over towards Winkler. It doesn't mean outside of that we couldn't also have some pretty strong storms. Late in the day tomorrow, we do get into these winds really picking up over 40, 50, even 60 kilometers per hour. So it's going to be quite the Tuesday into Wednesday. Here's a look at the conditions with the heat, and then see how things will change once that system moves through. Still some wet weather, but we'll find those temperatures will be dropping off and becoming more comfortable as we lose some of that heat. Brittany.
All right, thank you, Colette. We have much more straight ahead. Stay with us. Police are searching for 2 suspects after a jewelry heist. It happened at a gold store in River Heights. After smashing a display case, armed thieves made off with nearly 200 gold rings. And as CBC's Gavin Axelrod reports, the burglars were caught on surveillance.
What would have been a normal day of business turned into an armed robbery at Gate West Coin on Corden Avenue. 2 men with their faces covered are seen on security footage walking into the store. One with a hammer and a duffel bag, the other with a gun. Customers were in the store at the time. One man smashes the glass and loads up. Vice President Jasmine Allen says they scooped up about 190 gold rings. One of the employees triggered a smoke cloak system meant to hinder someone's visibility during a break-in. The entire incident over in a matter of seconds.
The gold value alone was about $100,000. The retail value was about triple that.
Nobody was physically hurt during the April robbery, but Allen says it's left staff shaken. Her pregnant sister was one of the employees working that day.
It has a really significant impact on people's mental health. There's a lot of anxiety that goes with incidents like this. You get stuck in a state of hypervigilance.
Even more cameras have been added and bulletproof glass ordered before the incident has been installed. Customers now have to look through this book to pick out items to buy because they're not on display anymore.
We've been in business since 1972. This is the first serious incident that we've ever had.
This past winter, the price of gold hit a record high. Allen says while it has gone down since, the attention around the value of precious metals can make stores like Gate West Coin a target.
I know it's been a significant concern, especially in Ontario. We are definitely starting to see it in Manitoba as well. It's unfortunately just one of those things that you always have to think of when you're in a business like this.
The 2 men in the video haven't been caught by police. On Friday, the Winnipeg Police Service put out a plea asking anyone with information to contact them. The Major Crimes Unit also continues to investigate. Gavin Axelrod, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Winnipeg Transit is facing a bigger than expected hit to its finances this year. A new city report says fare revenues are falling well short of budget projections, adding millions of dollars to the city's overall deficit forecast. CBC's Cameron McLean has more.
Lower than expected ridership has left a growing hole in Winnipeg Transit's budget. The city is projecting transit will finish the year with a nearly $18 million shortfall, driven by higher fuel costs, workers' compensation claims, and reduced fare revenue. In the 2026 budget, city officials expected a potential transit revenue shortfall of more than $11 million due to lower ridership levels. But in the first financial update of this year, the city now says the money collected from fares could be more than $18 million less than budgeted. Nearly a year after Winnipeg rolled out its new primary transit network, the city says some riders are still adjusting to the changes. Finance Committee Chair Jeff Rawadi acknowledges some trips became more difficult, but argues the redesigned system will eventually attract new riders.
Will new people start adopting transit overnight? I don't think so. But once people realize that they can get more places more easily, I think the network is legitimately better, and Winnipeggers will discover that, although it may take some time.
But the union representing transit drivers says safety concerns are also keeping some people off the bus. The report cites rising workers' compensation costs as one of the pressures facing transit this year.
They see the public get on there, and they see them abuse our operators, and they see them abuse the general public, and they just decide, you know, I'm going to take a different mode of transportation to where I'm going.
Transit advocates argue the problem goes beyond safety. Kyle Owens of Functional Transit Winnipeg says ridership had nearly recovered after the pandemic, but the new network still needs more investment to make it work.
The primary transit network lays the groundwork for the future, but we need to invest in service and getting people back on the bus.
The city is preparing to roll out new payment options, including debit cards and mobile wallets, which officials hope will make transit easier to use and help bring riders back. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Canada has a new Governor General. Louise Arbour was sworn in as the King's 31st representative in Canada during a formal ceremony in the nation's capital.
Do you, Louise Arbour, solemnly affirm that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III, King of Canada, his heirs and successors?
I do.
Arbour's installation took place in the Senate's temporary home in Ottawa's historic former Central train station. The Prime Minister, some of his predecessors, and outgoing Governor General Mary Simon were among the many dignitaries in attendance. Arbour was given the Great Seal of Canada, symbolizing the power and authority of the Crown. The Montreal native was also honoured with 2 21-gun salutes and a flypast of CF-18s. Arbour is a former Supreme Court justice who's also served in many influential roles abroad, including as the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. She takes over as Governor General during a time of risk to national unity. During her first speech, she pointed out that billions of people around the world look to our country with justifiable envy and spoke about the benefits and the risks of having multiple viewpoints within our nation.
Extreme polarization is dangerous, but so is extreme consensus. It is through our differences and our fundamental right to express them that we will nourish critical thinking, creativity, and innovation. It is through our differences that we will build a common future.
Pierre Poilievre says the best way to thwart the separatist movement in Alberta is for Ottawa to free up resources, build pipelines, and respect provincial autonomy. Rafi Boudjikanian reports on the Conservative leader's speech in Calgary.
The first federal leader to address Alberta separatism on the province's turf since its premier announced the referendum question, not the Prime Minister.
You don't need a federal government to put up a stop sign, approve a mine, build a road or a hospital that is only inside one province. You do need it to clear the way for a railway or a pipeline that crosses many provinces.
The official opposition leader reaching out to a movement he says is born of anger at specific federal government policies, not the idea of Canada itself.
Let's lock arms with Saskatchewan and Newfoundland and Labrador to double oil production by replacing C-48 and C-69, the anti-pipeline and anti-energy laws.
An Alberta court recently overturned an approval by the province's electoral body of a question on separation, arguing it violates Indigenous peoples' treaty rights. The Alberta government is not only appealing that decision, but Premier Danielle Smith has placed a question on a referendum ballot for October, asking voters if they want to stay in Canada or agree there should eventually be a vote on separation.
We believe that when an issue is important to Albertans, they should have a way of putting those ideas forward. Kicking the can down the road would only prolong a very emotional debate.
A debate this country's twice had before over Quebec. The Prime Minister who led Canada through the last unity crisis says sounding an alarm now may be premature.
So it's a problem that it is with us since a long time, but it is a marginal problem in my judgment.
Political observers say polling bears that out for now.
Separatism is below 30%. Is that marginal? It's still hundreds of thousands of people. We don't know how things occur in a campaign, right? There's lots of things that could, turn it. We're going to see, and we already have, massive disinformation.
One decision all Albertans will watch closely, whether or not the federal government says a new pipeline is in the national interest. A call it's set to make in October, just weeks before the referendum itself. Rafi Boudjikanian, CBC News, Ottawa.
Fighting in the Middle East ramped up quickly on Sunday, with Israel and Iran trading fire for the first time in 2 months. But after hours of fighting, both countries said they were backing away from additional strikes, at least for now. Still, new concerns have emerged that the region could be plunged back into a full-scale war. Crystal Gamansing has more.
Both Iran and Israel appear to be ready to stand down less than 24 hours after a series of intense strikes and counterstrikes. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaking to those in Israel in Hebrew, saying he is prepared to stop the strikes on Iran. However, he warns that Israel has the right and will defend itself.
במידה שמשטר הטרור יעשה את הטעות ויחזור לתקוף אותנו, נגיב בעוצמה, כי לישראל יש זכות מלאה להגנה עצמית, ואנו מממשים אותה ככל שהדבר נדרש.
Iranian officials also said that they are prepared to halt all airstrikes on Israel. A similar message from the Iranian president, Masoud Pezeshkian, who said that the defense will continue, that it is a national priority, but they will also not walk away from diplomacy. So currently, despite the fact that there has been an exchange of airstrikes between Israel and Iran, both sides appear to be stepping down. U.S. President Donald Trump has been very active, not only speaking to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on the phone, but sharing a lot on social media as well. At one point, he said that both sides, Israel and Iran, are looking to do an immediate ceasefire. Final negotiations on peace are proceeding, subject to ignorance or stupidity getting in the way. He also said that the blockade will remain in place and in full effect until a final deal is reached, that things should move quickly. Of course, there he's talking about the blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, it is unclear where any sort of peace agreement stands right now. Iran has been very clear that it does not want to see any more strikes by Israel in Lebanon. Israel says it has been striking Lebanon, specifically areas it says are being used by the Iranian-backed proxy Hezbollah in order to ensure the safety of Israeli residents. Crystal Gamansing, CBC News, Jerusalem.
A rainbow of colors and costumes, a show of pride, belonging, and love. We'll take you to Sunday's parade. Next, stay with us. Thousands of people marched through the streets of Winnipeg for the annual Pride Parade. The sea of people of all ages and walks of life was a chance to celebrate and reflect on their own journeys. CBC's Gavin Axelrod has more.
Revving up for a day of pride and of acceptance, unity, and love.
So it's just that kind of unapologetic acceptance of who you are. I've very much chilled out on my identity throughout the year and like how I present. So pride to me is a year's worth of actual pride coming out and just showing it to everyone.
Pedro Ribeiro de Sena and his father Carlos Sena have been living in Winnipeg since moving from Brazil almost a decade ago. They've been coming to Pride together for years.
Just the basic to do, right? Just offer love for, not for kids, not for young kids, but for everyone around. It's awesome for the community and for the society at least.
It feels very reassuring to know that I can be whoever I want, become whoever I want, and I still have my support in my home.
That freedom is equally important to Felix Yaboa, who moved to Winnipeg from Ghana about 3 years ago.
Being here, you don't have to live looking at your shoulders and all that. And yeah, you can be happy, you can be open about whatever you belongs to, and nobody's gonna stop you from that.
Manitoba's premier also with a message of support.
Make sure nobody ever feels alone and that we got the back of all the young people out there.
Thousands of people took part in Sunday's event, which started outside the Manitoba legislature and ended at the Forks. Barry Karlenzig is president of Pride Winnipeg.
An amazing turnout. The weather couldn't be better. Yeah, it's a little bit hot, but everybody's having a chance to celebrate themselves.
Karlenzig already has his eyes on next year, after which he'll be stepping down as the organization's president. He says they're adding an extra day of festivities.
40 years has come. 40 years is going to be next year. A lot has happened, but there's a lot more that still needs to be done in our community.
He says more than 10,000 people braved the heat to celebrate. Gavin Axelrod, CBC News, Winnipeg.
An annual celebration of Serbian culture was also held over the weekend. The Serbian Days Festival kicked off Saturday. The two-day event features folk dance, food, and music from the Balkans country. An organizer says roughly 2,000 Serbs have made Winnipeg their home. Organizers were expecting up to 600 people to attend. If the heat isn't for you, well, the next few days may feel a little nicer. Let's bring in Colette Kennedy for a look at your forecast. Colette.
Yeah, I was really mentioning, Brittany, you know, how things became more comfortable today with those temperatures through the afternoon hours, some of that extreme heat ahead of the cold front into northern Ontario. The air feeling drier as well, but tomorrow we get another surge. The jet and a system just south of the border pulling more moisture, but also providing lift. So the risk of severe weather through a wide area, but the most heightened risk for some of the stronger storms where we do have that chance of large hail, even tornadic activity in here, and yes, some heavy downpours, clearly something we don't need after all of the rain from the weekend. So I want you to be aware, especially Dauphin, Winkler, Brandon, Melita, and through that region and over the border into Saskatchewan as well. And there's that jet stream. So we're on, even though today's a bit of a breather, we're still on the storm track, essentially pulling these systems in. So taking you through the day tomorrow starts off a little quieter, and then we're getting into the afternoon, starting to see things developing here towards Brandon, just to the west, and then expanding towards Dauphin. Now we're into the evening hours, moving towards the Red River Valley, through the Inner Lakes region, and more extensive as this expands and we lose some of the daytime heating, but also the sun and that daylight. Well, hopefully we'll see things weakening to some degree, but I do want to caution you, you want to have a couple of different ways to be getting your information and your alerts. It's really going to be important for the active weather again tomorrow. Windy conditions tonight further north, but that pushes down, and by the time we're into tomorrow late evening, overnight, we'll have some winds gusting to 50, 60 kilometers per hour all the way through the southeast of the province. So they're really going to be expanding and shifting. A look at the forecast tonight. Tonight, great conditions, and even a little bit further north, we do have some wet weather closer to the center of that low, no question about it. But this is the system that's moving out, and then the next one will be coming in. Some heat building back in, close to 30 degrees Thompson tomorrow. And speaking of close to 30 degrees, well, we'll have the heat and the humidity, so we'll have some readings even into the low 30s for us tomorrow, coming back into the southern tier, even central tier of the province. Okay, here we go. This is Thor. Got to introduce you to Thor from Bev, an 8-year-old dachshund, enjoying, resplendent in the comfortable chair there. What a cutie. Look at those eyes. But the forecast for tomorrow is something to be clearly aware of what's going to be happening with that active weather chance.
Thanks, Colette. Former 60 Minutes correspondent Scott Pelley has given his first interview since his controversial dismissal from the program. The veteran journalist is leveling serious allegations of editorial interference and bias at CBS. Georgie Smythe explains.
Those stories and more.
60 Minutes correspondent Scott Pelley now on the other side of the microphone, speaking with the New York Times in his first sit-down interview since he was fired by CBS.
There was a thumb on the scale for the president's version of events that I felt was a level of political influence that I had never seen in 37 years at CBS News.
Pelley was unsparing in his criticism of the management of his former network. Pelley alleges there's a new subtle political bias pointing to changes he was asked to make to a story about the immigration crackdown in Minneapolis. In response, the company told The Times it only cares about accurate and fair reporting. Pelley became emotional when asked about attacks from President Donald Trump.
He also said you were part of this gang of stupid, crooked people that don't care about your country.
You become a journalist because you love the country. And while all the other descriptions that the president used about me might be applicable, not that one.
The president launched a similar attack on NBC's Meet the Press Sunday against another journalist.
And you're crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked, and so is ABC, and CBS, and CNN.
But Mr. President,
you're one-sided crooked networks. Right, let's call it quits, because I've had enough.
Pelley's exit from CBS follows a rocky period at the network. Shows were cancelled, top staff and correspondents have left or been fired under new editor-in-chief Barry Weiss, who was appointed after a media merger that some observers say was too close to the White House.
In journalism, corporate and editorial need to stay out of each other's way. It's really just let journalists do their work without any interference.
More media consolidation is coming to the US, with CBS and CNN expected to go under the same roof with another merger sometime this year. Georgie Smythe, CBC News, Vancouver.
Financial fraud costs Canadians hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And in many cases, people end up bearing the financial loss because banks refuse to reimburse them. One TD Bank customer in Nova Scotia is dealing with exactly this situation. Eric Johnson has his story and more on why some advocates say Canada's anti-fraud laws aren't strong enough.
I was panicked. I was kind of like a small heart attack.
Shakir Ahmed is talking about a text from TD Bank alerting him his credit line was nearing the limit. When he checked 10 transactions he says he didn't authorize, he was suddenly almost $15,000 in debt.
I am not like a high-income guy. We have mortgage, car payment, kids.
He reported the fraud, filed a police report, but his request for reimbursement was declined. TD said his IP address and one-time passcodes were used.
I can't explain in words how big this is on me, yeah.
Thing is, he insists he got no passcodes. We asked TD several times what evidence it has his account wasn't hacked. A spokesperson wouldn't say. That's a problem, says this cybersecurity expert.
No evidence of negligence was provided by the banking institution. And I don't know why that is, because If I were the bank, that's the first thing I would show.
He says Canada lags behind other countries like the UK, Singapore, and Australia when it comes to protecting consumers from fraud losses. They have legislation that holds the banks responsible if they can't prove gross negligence by the customer.
So they are incentivized to have proper anti-fraud controls in place.
We asked the federal government why banks here aren't held more responsible for fraud, something consumer advocates and even the banking ombudsman have called for. But the finance minister didn't answer the question.
We're going to be consulting. Like I said, that's why we will launch consultation.
Meantime, Ahmed says TD has begun clawing back monthly payments, including interest, a financial toll he says is devastating.
I did everything to protect my account. They didn't do enough to protect my money.
Erica Johnson, CBC News, Vancouver.
Still ahead, a Manitoba wildlife rescue forced to close its doors. How one volunteer says she'll remember it next. Plus, Colette has our last check on your forecast. Stay with us. Volunteers are remembering their time with the Winnipeg Area Wildlife Rescue as the Rehabilitation Centre gets ready to close its doors after nearly 20 years. Melissa Powell helped rescue this injured great horned owl back in 2021. She contacted Prairie Wildlife Rehabilitation Centre for help and eventually got to help release it after its recovery. Now the centre is closing. It stopped intake for injured and orphaned wildlife and says it will shut down at the end of the summer. Powell is disappointed in its closing.
It's sad. I know there's other places like Wildlife Haven, but just having that connection with Prairie Wildlife and what they do for the wild animals and how, they included me, it feels sad that they have to close.
The organization declined to comment but called it a difficult decision. In a social media post, it cited challenges with funding, staffing, and the increasing costs of wildlife rehab.
Well, we don't get much of a chance to take a breather, do we? Today a little bit as things have quieted down, but then tomorrow firing back up. The severe weather threat once again, especially into the afternoon hours towards the southwest, Melita, up towards Dauphin and over towards Winkler, and by the evening hours moving over towards the Inner Lakes region and eastward into the Red River Valley. So clearly another active day we have on tap. Things could be quite strong, though some of those storms and dangerous, so be aware of that. And then know that after that we still have some wet weather, but watch how the temperatures will come down and things level out a little bit for us. And maybe we'll even be treated to a comfortable and quieter weekend this coming weekend.
All right, thanks, Colette. It started as a child's toy, but now it's a competitive sport. Your daily lift doesn't horse around. Okay, this is the European Hobby Horse Championship in Prague. Competitors take part in events such as dressage, western, trail, and show jumping. The one-day event brought together nearly 250 competitors from 11 countries. The sport, involving athletes with stick horses performing equestrian-style movements, emerged in Finland in the early 2000s as an affordable alternative to horse riding. I love it. Good on them. If you have any pictures of the storms and it's safe to do so, please send those in. Talkback@cbc.ca. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you back here tomorrow.